Hi everyone, you probably know that Sony has exclusives that are only available on PS5, but I also decided to add more games here that are backwards compatible with PS4. I'll start with games that were exclusives last generation on PS4. Tearaway is a game that tells us a paper story about one character that got into an incomprehensible world. The game is rather childish, kind, but at the same time, it will not be a shame for an adult to play it from time to time. There are a lot of puzzles, locations to explore. Basically, the game is modeled with bright colors and will lift your mood. It has a simple and uncomplicated plot. In the game Tearaway, gameplay simple, understandable, and convenient. Last Guardian is a very touching story about a big animal and a guy who is lost in a fairy tale invisible land. The game is very interestingly conceived. Interacting between these two characters, you can sometimes switch between them, but mostly you play as the guy. You will have to use special commands to make your way further. In Last Guardian, you have to think all the time, because there are puzzles very often. This game is very cool, and it was quite highly praised in its time. Gravity Rush 2 is an iconic game. It was even on the PlayStation Vita back in the day. It can be played on both PS4 and PS5. Gravity Rush 2 has a cool story, it's kind of open world, and the most important thing there is the gameplay. Everything in the game revolves around gravity. The main character has this ability. She can attach herself to surfaces any way she wants. I played it a little bit, but it was enough for me to understand why this game is so praised. Shadow of the Colossus Remastered is a game whose old version was exactly on the PlayStation 2, so you can touch the old and iconic in a new wrapper. I've tried the previously old installment to play, and I have a lot to compare it to. I won't say there are any strong visual changes as well as gameplay changes. Nevertheless, the game turned out to be very cool. You will be slaying large colossi. You have to figure out for yourself how to kill these colossi. There is no clear plot in the game. You have to figure out for yourself what is going on there. All that you have to do in the huge open world is to find some titans and kill them. Infamous Second Son is the very first game I launched when I first bought myself a PlayStation 4. All those touchpad interactions on the gamepad are incredible. It's open world and tells us the story of Daleson Rowe, who got superpowers, and was able to adopt the abilities of other characters. The plot is very interesting. You're in the open world liberating neighborhoods gradually. There is a system of good and evil. It also got some DLC along the lines of Infamous First Light. Graphically, it is very beautiful. Even though the game is 2014, graphically, it is very beautiful, and you will like it in many aspects. Order 1886 is a very short game, but it's also very cool. It was criticized in its time precisely because it turned out to be very short. The story, visuals, and gameplay are top-notch. That's enough to say that this game turned out pretty good. The only drawback is that it didn't turn out to be that long. The first 3 parts of Uncharted, the 4th part of the game is available on PC, but the first 3 parts are not. I played them in my time on PlayStation 3. The only thing is that I didn't like the 3rd part because it seemed too long. To me. But the 1st and 2nd parts are very good. The game is third person. There is no open world here. Closed locations are available to explore. There are a lot of puzzles. Very cool, interesting plot. The game will appeal to those players who like adventure. Bloodborne is a very cool Souls-like game from the creators of Dark Souls. I think this exclusive is definitely something to be proud of, because many PC gamers are still waiting for Bloodborne to finally become available on PC. But as of now, the game is only available on PS4 and on PS5. The Last of Us. Part 2. It is the second part that is not yet available to play on PC. This game is so popular that almost every person has played it. At one time, even passed it several times. This is one of the few games whose plot will be interesting not only to gamers, but also just surrounding relatives of the gamer. Astro's Playroom is a PS5 exclusive that is a completely free add-on to your PS5 purchase. The game showcases the full capabilities of DualSense. It is indeed a very worthy and interesting game. Astro's Playroom seems like a child's game, but it can be challenging. Sackboy A Big Adventure. The entire Little Big Planet series is available on PS4 and on PS5, and they are decent games that are worth talking about. It may look childish, but it was Sackboy Adventure, which is exclusive to the PS5, that I enjoyed the most because it's already more challenging and there's a more interesting story there. I'd call it some kind of cool cartoon. Godfall, the game seems to be a one-time game. Although the gameplay is very beautiful, but in terms of story, the game does not go very far. There is an opinion that a game can be considered good if it pulls at a decent level. Story, gameplay, and visuals. The gameplay and visuals in Godfall turned out pretty good, but the story is not interesting enough. Horizon Call of the Mountain is an exclusive for VR. A lot of people liked the game. Let's just not forget that we still have exclusives in VR. This is for those who think the PlayStation 5 has nothing to offer compared to the Xbox or PC. Horizon Call of the Mountain is an exclusive for VR. A lot of people liked the game. Let's just not forget that we still have exclusives in VR. This is for those who think the PlayStation 5 has nothing to offer compared to the Xbox or PC. Final Fantasy VII Remake. The second part has already been released. The game was simply divided into two parts. While one half was released, the second part was slowly being prepared for release. There is already a full game with two parts. This game has a cool story and gameplay. Gran Turismo 7 is the seventh part of the car simulator. Here you can see all by yourself that the graphics very surprised the players, taking into account the evaluations of players. I think that here we can simply say that the game is worthy to pass. Horizon Forbidden West, compared to the first part, the second part is only available on PS4 and on PS5. In fact, it was released simultaneously on both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Just like God of War, Ragnarök, which will be discussed next. These games are best exactly on PlayStation 5, because they're with the PlayStation 5 upgrade, and they have cooler graphics and DualSense chips. God of War, Ragnarök, and Horizon Forbidden West don't need much introduction, because they are the most iconic PlayStation exclusives. Spider-Man 2, a very cool game in all aspects. Gameplay, story, and of course graphics. There are no such games at the moment. Final Fantasy VI. A lot of people rated it very well. The game is currently available only on PlayStation 5. The graphics and visuals are excellent. The game is an open-world RPG with a unique combat system. Very interesting storyline. I've already told you about all the full-fledged exclusives, and I'd like to say that there are a lot of new exclusive games ahead of us, which we'll talk about in the new videos. That's all for now. Thank you all for your attention, and see you soon.